Hello and welcome to Module 4 for Align and Attract. We are aligning to our income goals this week. So when you are aligning as part of the main training, you might like to align to a specific number. And that can be, of course, a next level income goal. It can be a much larger income goal if you would like to as well. You can also do something more general, which is what we're going to do today. So I had shared this in the Facebook group, and I'll pop that into the chat so people who are here live can read it. I substantially grow my income by making the smallest tweaks. So I'd love to hear from you, just as you hear that goal, what it makes you think about. And I'll talk to you about what I was thinking about as that goal was coming to me. Like, it did just kind of drop in. It wasn't something I overly thought about. It just arrived and I was like, oh, I really like that. So I like the idea of substantial, like that being just really kind of solid and tangible, observable, that it's a significant increase. And I think as well, when we are increasing our income, like sometimes if you are in the earlier stages of your business, you can increase your income just by attracting more clients. But often, to increase your income, it is going to involve making some changes and doing new things. So, for example, offering workshops or offering group programs or just offering something that you haven't done before. Sometimes I've heard people say that they found that if they add something, it subtracts from what it is that they're already doing, and they don't always feel like, certainly initially, like it leads to this increase. Sometimes that's because we feel like we have to really put a lot of time and energy into the newer thing, and then it feels like, it's got this kind of detracting, net whatever the word is, net ends up the same. So we don't want that. We want it to be like things that feel like tweaks, things that can feel quite subtle, and that we can just add them in, and they're going to lead to this net gain. Okay, so Tamara has said, I love this so much. I did M4, module 4 yesterday, and aligned to a specific income goal. And this is a great next alignment. And Rebecca said she's set up some income goals with a coach. So this is really important, timely, and perfect. Great. One thing, and I can't remember if I actually talked about this in the module, but something that can be useful to do is to look at how is it that I might get there. And I've done this lots of different times over the years where you actually work out, so I want to increase my income to this amount. In a practical sense, what could this look like? And actually playing with some numbers. So if I want to, for example, be working with this number of clients a week, well, that over the course of a year, if I'm having this amount of time off, that can work out to be around about this amount. If I want to run this type of group program, I want to have this other income stream, that can work out to be about this amount. And you can kind of do like a good, better, best, or like an okay, good, best case scenario, and just play with all of those numbers and just ensure that it is possible, and just understand what it could look like. Of course, things can drop in that are totally unforeseen sometimes as well. So this goal, I really feel like it does lead on from what we focused on last week, which was around being able to sell anything that we would choose at any particular price point that we feel aligned with, that we want to offer. It was so interesting. So I'm going to share what happened for me, because I want you to remember that sometimes the things that unfold, it's not like there's a linear pathway, right? You can have this exponential type growth, because you just, how do I say it? It's not like this was on a little business plan I put together. It's not like I'd put this idea, I said before about you could map out all the different ways your income could come together. I did not do this. I just had this idea, which had come from a client who said, why don't you run an event in Melbourne? I would come. Now, if I have one person who says they're going to do something, often I will find that's enough for me to be like, okay, cool. So I did that when I ran my Own It workshop this year, which was a low-cost workshop. One person in Europe had said that she would definitely come, And she'd given me some good feedback about what it was she wanted me to include. I'm like, that's enough. I'm happy to run it for you. And then I, ended up having however many people, I think it was 30 or something like that. So anyway, and so I then put that idea out to my newsletter. Some of you have responded, but it was like, okay, so we'll do an event in Melbourne around about this time frame, around about this price point. It's about $400. And just, I know that's not a lot of information, but if you feel like you'd be interested, please let me know. So I had over 20 people say, yes, I would be interested, right? So it wasn't in a plan. It wasn't something I was thinking about, but that, could be an additional income stream for me, especially if I'd ended up deciding to do more than one. So just be open to the ideas that drop in and acting on those. And it doesn't always have to be in like a linear, plan it out a year in advance fashion. Trust your intuition can guide you. All right. So Georgie said that's how I work rather than business plans. Definitely like the idea of a business plan. Can't do it. Christine, I like the good, better, best strategy. Feels like less pressure. Yeah, it's just like, well, what kind of feels like, okay, this would be all right. And then if I put in a lot of work, what do I think is possible? So that all sounds really, really good. All right, how are we going to begin? Let's start at the heart chakra. We'll do some Reiki just to tune in and arrive in this space together. So closing down your eyes and just taking some deep breaths. I'll tell you what is arriving just as we're settling into the space now. We're talking about small tweaks. Sometimes that is or can be just selling more of what it is that you have already created. Sometimes when we're thinking about increasing our income, we might think, okay, well, I need to create something new or different. But if you sold 20% more of everything that you sell, for example, that could lead to quite a substantial increase. Okay, so what is coming up as I tune into the heart is the mind. Like the mind really wants to get to the how. Like, how can I do this? How can I substantially increase my income or grow my income? And the invitation is to come back into the heart right now. And ask yourself, how would I want to feel as I did this? What is the feeling state that I think I would create this from, or that I would like to create this from? So some words that are dropping in that you can play with are curious, open, excited, grounded. And what's coming in as well is a part of what can create this for each of us is really embodying that energy that causes people to want to be a part of what it is that you're doing. So you really need to, this is the message, it's the invitation, is to just call all of your energy back into you Bring all of your energy back into you, back into your body, back into your own heart. All of this energy that's off seeking, wondering, looking, asking. It's all this how, the message I'm getting is it's all quite outwards energy. So bringing that all back in and instead embodying. So this is not about you actually as the individual. This is you as the business owner. When people look at you as the business owner, I'm just feeling into how to describe this. So this is like when they just generally, it's not just like looking at your image, it's looking at your social media, looking at your website, looking, just feeling your presence as a business owner. What would you love them to feel? So this is an extension of what came up at the start where we were focusing on how do we want to feel as we create this. This is what do you want people to feel and to sense as they tune into your energy. They may not be consciously tuning in, but we all do. You look at a business or you look at a presence and you feel something or not. So what would you love for people ideally to feel? Beautiful. You can open your eyes. I'd love you to share some of those words that came through for you, and in either part, either when you were tuning into how you want to feel as you create this, or when you're tuning into what it is that you'd love people to sense about you as they feel your energy or your presence. So just dropping some of those words into the chat. I want to feel powerful, magnetic, and in flow when I create. For me to feel ease and magnetic. I would like to create from a feeling of generosity, abundance, and connection. I'd like people to sense fun when they see me online. Yeah, love that. I'd like my customers to feel safe, connected, and understood. Yes. For me, I want to feel impact. For others, magnetic. I want this. Think about how enjoyable it is to buy anything. So whether it's to buy a service or to buy a course or to buy a product, when it's like you desire it and you just want to be a part of it, is because of either if it's a service, it's the energy of that person or the sense of trust that you have, or just the belief you have that they're going to be able to help or support you in some way. And then sometimes if it's a course, it can be like even a bit aspirational, or I really feel like it's going to help you solve this problem. Just feel that pleasure that you get when it's like, I'm going to buy that and I want it. You find the perfect clothing item that you've been looking for. And it's like, it's the right price. And you're like, oh, I'm so excited, you know? Let's have a look what else. Oh, wow, we've got lots. Amazing. So Anna, expansive, safe, joyful, and inspired. I'd like people to see me as caring, trustworthy, and providing great value to them. I'd like people to feel excited, relieved, and inspired. Beautiful. Bethany, when creating, calm and flow when being viewed, welcoming, safe, warm. Great. When people see me as a business owner, I'd like them to feel understood, safe, inspired, relieved, and confident. So you can borrow from any of these words that you are hearing. You're like, I want that too. Like just add it onto your own list. For Nicole, I want to feel warm and welcoming, or the client to feel warm, welcoming, peace, and an invitation to be. Melissa, for others experiencing my business, ease, like it's possible for them, wanting to experience what I'm offering. Gemma, people feel safe, calm, grounded, trusting. Jody, finding the joy in love of what I do now during the expansion process. Yes. So when we're focusing on expansion, we don't want to go into lack, right? Because that can happen where it's like, I'm focused on what I don't have, and now all of a sudden I don't appreciate what I do have. So I think this is a really great point that you make. Not just being joyful and happy once I've achieved my goal, it's moving into a higher positive vibration now. Yeah, it's the process, isn't it? Because the process is just ongoing. The process never ends. And so how do we want to feel while we are doing it, while we are in it? So it can be an energy of expansion, a feeling of expansion, rather than it being, well, this is my goal. I guess I'll be happy when that arrives. People feel inspired to be creative and expressive in their life. Great. I want to create from a space of ease and my clients to feel grounded, reassured, and safe. Great. All right. So let's dive into aligning to this goal. I substantially grow my income by making the smallest tweaks. And there was one addition to this goal, which you can take on as well, which was growing my income with additional income streams. So if you've got your cards there, please grab them. I substantially grow my income by making the smallest tweaks. Just repeating this goal out loud. I substantially grow my income by making the smallest tweaks. I substantially grow my income by making the smallest tweaks. What is the number one misalignment that comes up as we tune into this goal? I substantially grow my income by making the smallest tweaks. So choosing your misalignment, I'm choosing one for the group. The misalignment that's coming up for the group is base security. Sharing your misalignments, and you can add what that means for you, if you like. Give you a moment to do that. So just feeling into it. I substantially grow my income by making the smallest tweaks. In what way could this cause a sense of insecurity? What if I don't grow income? What if I make tweaks and then I lose income? What if I get distracted? What if I get into shiny object syndrome and I create a bunch of things and it tires me out and I don't grow my income? That could be an insecure type response. Maybe I don't know how to do it. Base, taking action, sacral, feminine and masculine, so balancing out. And that can come up, George, if you're interested to see, if you're resonating, that feminine and masculine can come up when we're just not quite sure and we're not quite able to feel into and find that balance of the intuitive, instinctive, trust side of things and the practical action, or knowing what the practical actions actually are. Connection to reality. So often with that one, Melissa, it can mean the reality is it's easy, or it can be, but it feels hard. Or the reality could be that, it could feel like a fantasy is the other thing I was going to say. Heart receiving love. So can I just receive, or am I actually blocking without even necessarily realizing? Base support, base fear. Okay, it's a bit of base. Trusting spirit. So actually, am I going to receive this guidance that I desire? Feeling heard. Crown visions. Can I see it? Or do I feel like I can't see it? And if I can't see it, how am I going to create it? Suppressed emotion. Sometimes, Georgina, when that comes up for me, I like to just name the different emotions that I can sense. Sacral intimacy. So it's like, how am I going to do that and still have this intimate, close connection with my clients? Can be one way that might show up. Okay, please closing down your eyes now. And thinking about this goal, I substantially grow my income by making the smallest tweaks. And we've asked, what is the number one misalignment that's coming up? So let's first of all focus on the group misalignment, which was base security. So feeling into any insecurity this brings up, either that it's disrupting things as they are, or the insecurity that I don't know how to do this. I don't know if I've got what it takes. Anything else that you can connect with around a sense of insecurity. Perhaps it could be, I've done it before, but now I just don't know if I can do it again. It could be that you're quite tuned into, the insecurity, for example, in the economy, or that you're sensing some insecurity or financial insecurity with clients. I don't know how to do it, so I can't trust it when it happens. It's a fluke, right? So that's going to bring up the sense of insecurity. It's not secure, it's not stable, it's just a fluke. It just happens. So where can you feel this in your body, this sense of insecurity as you're feeling into this goal? I substantially grow my income by making the smallest tweaks. And what is it that you can feel? What is the sensation that goes along with this? Good. Now moving on to your personal misalignment. So thinking about the goal, I substantially grow my income by making the smallest tweaks, and thinking about the personal misalignment that came up for you, and where can you feel that in your body? And what can you feel? You can open your eyes and please go ahead and share in the chat. What did you feel? Where did you feel it? And also, what thoughts are coming up for you that are challenging you in relation to this goal? So I don't know how to do it. What's that going to look like? Is that going to be a lot of work? Is it going to work? Am I going to do things and they don't work? Is it going to be a waste of time? Dropping those things into the chat. Okay, so heaviness, stuckness in the chest, and jumbled thoughts in my head, all through my jaw and mouth, like I'd just eaten a lemon. Okay, by personal misalignment, I felt it all through my aura, like a disoriented wave of energy. Wow. Felt like a huge weighted hook through my base chakra. Heart, it's like my heart is encased in stone, protective measure, but doesn't let anything in. Heaviness in the midsection, having the capacity to hold enough space for others without overwhelm, not feeling ready to expand. Okay. Feel a fear of being tied to something I can't commit to. I wonder if it could be easy, Anna, and I wonder if this is telling you that you might need to, I'm sure you've already done this, but you can create things that don't necessarily require a commitment from you. So for example, a low-cost workshop, a downloadable kit, a downloadable set of meditations. If you kind of know that of yourself, it's like, but can I commit to marketing this thing? And then when it's delivered, I don't have to have ongoing commitment to that. okay, these income goals will not be supported by those around me, and they question my worth. This feels like family. Can my energy sustain this increase? Feels queasy in my hips, nervousness in my chest, but an excitement in my sacral. Doubt, will this work? Felt it in my chest and tight felt it in my tummy and tight in the chest, an anxious feeling. Fear and fluttering in my upper chest when I think about putting myself out there. Money has caused me to feel a lot of insecurity throughout my life. Okay, these are all fantastic. I'm going to incorporate all of these into the EFT. But before we do dive into that, let's consider this idea or belief that's coming through for quite a few people, and perhaps you might chime in if you can also resonate with this, that more is going to mean like more stress or more overwhelm or more work or more something undesirable. Because you can imagine if that belief is there, that you're like, well, if I am going to create and allow more, it's going to cost me more in time, energy, and other things. Well, are you really going to want to do that? More work and no results again. So let's go back and just look at the goal. I substantially grow my income by making the smallest tweaks. So isn't it interesting that straight away, quite a number of people are going into, it's going to be a lot of work. It's going to be tons of work with potentially no return. And yet, but the goal says by making the smallest tweaks. And so let's think in terms of kind of like that exponential result. So it's not going to be these changes that we are aligning to, this growth in your income you're aligning to, are not going to be because you're going to work double the number of hours, or that you're going to be, putting a lot of work into things that may or may not work. So perhaps it could be putting it out there. Let me try and feel into it. Okay, here's one example. It can be coming up with an idea and then just testing it. So I gave you that example with the event. I did not go away and spend hours creating an event and putting it all together, figuring out exactly what I was going to include in the event, exactly how much it was going to cost, or, even seeking quotes. I didn't do any of that until I was sure there was interest. So maybe that's something you can play with. It's like, how can I gauge interest in an idea? And I've done that multiple times when I've got an idea, and I will just ask, is this something that you will be interested in? And then just trusting in that. If not that many people respond to a story or respond to an email to say they're interested, when there's just so low risk in doing so, how many people are going to want to buy it? Do you know what I mean? So we want to be creating things that actually people are just like, yes, could you? Yes. So I know that can also come with a sense of almost like risk as well. It's like, well, I could put that idea out there and no one might say, yes, well, great, you did not create it. So that was good. More stress in my relationship. Yeah, the more work and no results. So I've given you one example of how that could look so that you are mitigating that. I'm not saying it's completely fail-safe, but it is a way of mitigating that. What are some other ways? And it's just that minimum kind of viable product, or if you're wanting to try something that you haven't tried before, it's like making that, putting out a low-cost workshop, for example, and that being one way that you could grow your income. But there's not a huge amount of risk and effort that's put into it. If you're feeling this would not be a time that I would be investing hours and hours and hours into creating something entirely new without knowing if people want it. So it's like, what can be a lower level of time and energy up front for a substantial possible or potential return. And I can also seek interest in that before I actually even do it, right? So that's that concept of like a pre-sale as well, or, There's just different ways you can do it. So being open to that idea, I do not have to create blindly and hope people will buy at the end of it. Okay. So tapping on the outside edge of your hand and just repeating with me. If any of these statements, you don't resonate with them, you can change them. Or you can just go with it and just think, well, at least it's fully cleared, I guess. So even though I don't know how to substantially grow my income with only small tweaks, I deeply and completely love myself. Tapping the top of your head. Even though I assume that growing my income is going to mean a lot of work, and I don't know if that work's going to pay off, I deeply and completely love myself. Tapping next to your eyebrow. Even though I don't trust people to buy something new from me or to spend more money with me, I deeply and completely love myself. Tapping on the outside edge of your eyes, even though I can feel this heaviness and I feel stuck and I feel these jumbled thoughts in my head, I deeply and completely love myself. Even though I don't know if it's possible to substantially grow my income. And I'll only believe it's possible when I have a step-by-step guide to know how to do it. I deeply and completely love myself. Tapping underneath your nose. Even though my heart feels blocked around this, I deeply and completely love myself. Even though the idea of substantially growing my income brings up overwhelm, because I think I'll have to hold more space for others, and I don't feel ready to expand, and I have this fear, and I'm worried this is going to mean more commitment, and I'm worried this will mean more responsibility. I deeply and completely love myself. Collarbones. Even those other people might not support me in creating this goal, I deeply and completely love myself. Under your arm, around the bra strap area. Even though I'm not sure if my energy can sustain this increase, I deeply and completely love myself. Even though I don't know how to substantially grow my income without using a lot more energy, and I'm quite certain this is going to require a lot more energy, and I'm quite certain this is going to require a lot more work, even though we're aiming for small tweaks. I don't think that part's possible. I deeply and completely love myself. Even though I have this doubt, I don't know if this is going to work. In fact, it probably won't work. I deeply and completely love myself. Where am I? Here. Even though I have this fear and fluttering in my chest, and I feel like I'm going to have to put myself out there so much more, I deeply and completely love myself. Tapping on the outside edge of your eyes, even though money has caused me to feel a lot of insecurity throughout my life, I deeply and completely love myself. Even though I feel like I'm trying to reach something and it is just out of reach, I deeply and completely love myself. Tapping underneath your nose. Even though I'm not sure if I want to substantially grow my income, because I'm certain that it's going to take a lot for me to do that. And I'm almost certain that it can't be easy. I deeply and completely love myself. Even though I'm worried this is all going to be more work and no results again, I deeply and completely love myself. Even though I'm quite sure that growing my income is going to cause more stress and more stress on my relationships, I deeply and completely love myself. Even though I'm really not sure if this goal is possible, I deeply and completely love myself. Tapping wrists together, I deeply and completely love myself. I deeply and completely love myself. I deeply and completely love myself. Okay, shaking it out. Okay. So Anna has asked a question. She said she's literally just done this in her story. She asked about who is interested in an in-person painting workshop, and only a couple of replies. I wouldn't take that as a definite no, but you may also not be quite ready to move forward and book it. But what you could do is make sure you've got those names, obviously. But I would consider actually because an in-person workshop, if you're doing it in the location where you live, I would actually ask people who you know. And or ask people, like, say, I'm thinking about offering this. Do you know anyone who might be interested? Or, is there anyone that, you could speak to who might be interested about this? I would just take it a step further, and being in person, it's like, yeah, I would use your network. And you can do other things as well. Like you could, for example, make it bring a friend for X percentage off or something like that. So I wouldn't say yes or no yet. I think there's just some extra steps that you could take that would help you to feel more confident that that idea's got legs. But we know it's something like a story. Like people might see it, they might not. Lots of people who'd be following you who are not in the area. So take it further. All right. How is it that we are feeling after that EFT? Please go ahead and share. And you can also share how it is that you want to be feeling about this goal. And if you're worried about, for example, it being extra time, it being extra energy, it being, this could mean I'm putting work into something, it doesn't come to fruition. Well, I would just put that in your I'm not available for that pile. And I'm only available for ideas that, are going to be a minimum or minimal effort for a potential output, right? It's like I'm not going to entertain and engage with ideas right now that are going to be a big investment of time and energy or even cost up front and bearing that risk. That's just not what I'm available for. Okay, Tamara said, I feel grounded now and those worries don't matter. So just asking, how do I want to be feeling about this? What do I want to be available for? So you could put some criteria and some parameters around, what you're wanting to drop in. Okay, I find I fill up in-person workshops very easily. It's the online I find a challenge. And Angela said, through the tapping, I realized I'm so very blessed with my in-person. However, I let the lack of online sales defeat It causes this defeat and don't feel the gratitude for the in-person workshops that I sell out. It's very interesting, isn't it? I bet everyone listening will be able to relate to this. We'll make some things count and some things don't count. So, oh yes, I can attract clients, but it's only this many clients. Or I can do this in person, but I can't do this online. Or I can do this online, but I can't do that in person. And it's like, it's all just a great big story, isn't it? And Angela, I wonder if for you, it's like, how can I grow the in-person events even more? How could I have them be larger events? I think actually there's a huge opportunity with in-person at the moment, because I think a lot of people are finding online is a little bit different to what it was. It is a lot busier. It's just different for so many different reasons. And if you are willing to do in-person, a lot of people will jump onto that. Rebecca said her mind has started going to solutions for some of this. Great. I feel like maybe it can work. It's definitely worth trying. Yeah, that energy of curiosity, like, and I think sometimes it can be great just to go, well, I'm looking forward to that great idea dropping in, I wonder what it's going to be, rather than being in that energy, which we can sometimes get into, of rumination or doubt or questioning. It's like, I'm probably not going to get a good idea anyway, or it's probably going to be a lot of work. Or it's probably, it's like that meditating on what you don't want, right? So instead, it's like, if you don't know if it's possible, go, well, I'm very curious to hear how this is possible, but with that genuine curiosity, like I'm really curious to see how this is possible. What could I do? And let it all count. So you could be like, I've got this idea to do an in-person meditation class or something like that. And then you're like, but that doesn't really count because that's not going to make heaps of money. Just let it count. Let it count. You might be like, I could create like a little series of 5 meditations and do it as a little kit. Oh, that doesn't really count though, because I'm only going to sell it for this amount. It doesn't count. It counts. I'm laughing because I'm reading Melissa's ideas. It's totally possible. I only do exponential. I only do scale. There's a book that a client recommended to me, and it's called something like 10X. Someone else might know this book. They might be able to tell me the correct title. But the concept of the book is it's easier to 10X than it is to 2X. Easier to 10 times than it is to 2 times. Because if you're looking to just make incremental changes, you think differently than if you're thinking 10 times. And we think, but doubling or just incremental, that's going to be easier than the 10X or, going bigger. But it's like, sometimes it's just the idea. It doesn't necessarily have to be more work. So Rebecca, I've realized that my online social media stuff doesn't sell. When people meet me or speak, it all flows. I need to get out to nice in-person events. Yes. Yep. Exactly. And you can think, but it doesn't count because I should be able to get my online presence doing this and that, and I should be able to blah, 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 blah. And it's like, actually, I could just go to a bunch of nice in-person events and that will work. I'm so ready to show up. Yes, and it can be really enjoyable, really pleasurable. Very interestingly as well, I think this is going to be relevant for quite a few people listening. You think, it's in person or it's online. But if you have, and I'm just sort of looking through this list, there's people who are here who I have, I might have met online or I might have met in person, but it crosses over, right? And so if you meet someone in person, they will often, what is one of the first things you often do now? Where are you on Instagram? You follow them. If you see someone you've met in person pop up in your feed, you'll be more likely to engage with that person because you know them. Like, it is social, and that's what makes it social. It's remembering as well to be social. Grant Cardone, that could be it. Thank you, Georgie. With the name of the, do you know the name of the book itself? Okay, Bethany, despite all my fears and concerns, I feel like I need to give it a go to see if the fears and concerns will be actual obstacles or if it will all work out with not too many bumps. Maybe you can go back to module 1 as well and just revisit the growth mindset stuff and just go, if I engage my growth mindset here and just see it as this is an opportunity and I'm going to learn, no matter what, I'm going to learn, you can think about it differently. It really can help. I want to feel inspired and delighted with ideas for ways to make small tweaks to grow my income substantially. My parameters, I make easy small tweaks that all build momentum and bring in clients who are excited to work with me, who have the money to pay for my services. I'm ready for 10X. Thank you. Thank you. 10 Times Rule by Grant Cardone. That would be the one. Thank you. My business needs to be shaken upside down. So I think that's the 10X expansion. And Angela said I could do more in person easily. I think I get stuck being part of an online business mastermind and I forget about what I do well already that's not online. Yes. Yes. And doing more in person may also continue to feed into that online, right? And yeah, I feel like if you it's really important often, isn't it, to notice what actually is working and to build on that rather than looking at something you think should work better. You think it should, but maybe it wouldn't for you. Thank you, Georgie. Yes, the 10 times rule. Well done, everyone. Thank you. All right, now let's associate into this goal. Closing down your eyes. This is going to be so easy. So just as you're starting to tune in, just being mindful of what it is that you're telling yourself, right? So this is kind of like hypnosis, and we can hypnotize ourselves a little by just telling ourselves the way it's going to be. This is going to be so easy to align to this goal, and it's going to be so easy for you to come up with ideas that you can easily act upon. And then, like in the case of Angela here, rather than doing what feels hard, she could just do more of what feels easy. So there'll be something that for you is actually quite easy. And I think there's a message here for everyone who's live and everyone who's listening to the recording. Think about in person. Honestly, just think about in person. And that could be more networking and going to events and actually making sure you're talking to people. You often do not, and you tend not to at all sell yourself, but who do we like to do business with? People that we know. We just do. We like it. It feels good. And so there's that. And then there's also think about running an event. So for people who are a little bit earlier stages business, one of the very first things that I did that worked very well to grow my business was to run an in-person workshop with a friend. She was a yoga teacher. I was obviously the kinesiologist. It was an unstuck workshop. We sold out the first one with 17 people or something like that. It was maybe $80, just a few hours. And then we sold that out. So we ran another one. So it was nearly 40 people that we worked with. And so many of those people came and saw me over the years, even if they didn't come straight away within a probably 1 or 2 year period, most of those people would have come. So yeah, it can be quite easy if you think in that way. Georgie's off to Bali on Sunday to see the venue for her retreat next year. So great. All right. Closing down your eyes. If you haven't already, I substantially grow my income by making the smallest tweaks. So just imagining this was just the easiest thing in the world. It's like, I'm not going to do this with more work or with a lot more work. And if I am doing more work, it's because I want to, and it's because it's fun, right? And it's supported by people around me. Let me give you an example. With this Melbourne event, I was just asking a client who's in Melbourne a question about a venue. And she said, do you want me to just get my PA to go and check out a couple of venues for you? I'm like, oh my gosh, no, you can't possibly do that. She's like, oh, it really won't be a bother. So Tom is checking out the venues for me today. So just let it be playful, let it be easy. People might support you in ways you can't foresee, right? So just again, associating into this goal, imagining what it'd be like to substantially grow your income by making the smallest tweaks. They're just going to be so easy. They're going to be so small. It's not going to feel hard. This is not about, right, I'm buckling in to grow my income. I'm going to have to do something hard that I've never done before. It's like, probably not. probably it's going to be expanding upon and doing something that I already do well, I already find easy, that my clients already like, but there's just something about it that's a bit exponential. Just imagining what this would be like. And yeah, just feeling into this idea of 10x. 10x is easier than 2x. It's an interesting idea. And just imagining, yeah, I'm just ready for this. I'm inspired, I'm delighted. It's just all easy, small tweaks. It all builds momentum. It all brings in clients who want to work with me, have the money to pay for my services. Just kind of give it a go. Just so ready. I'm so ready to show up. It's totally possible. I only do exponential. I only do scale. It's kind of like maybe it can work. It's definitely worth trying. Just going to solutions. It just feels so lovely. Just building on what already works. I'm just feeling so grounded about this. I substantially grow my income by making the smallest tweaks. It's not with efforting. It's just with ease. It's just like, oh, I could just do that. That's the energy. I could just do that. Oh, I could just have double the number of people at my in-person event. Oh, well, I guess that would make a lot more money. I guess that would be a lot more profitable. Just something really easy. Oh, I guess I could just go to one networking, or it doesn't have to be networking, but one event a month. That could feel really easy. And I'll make sure I just really make an effort to talk to at least 5 new people and just be really excited about what they do. That would be really easy. So if you were able to really feel this, that I substantially grow my income by making the smallest tweaks, where do you think you would feel that in your body? And what do you think you would feel? What is it that you can feel? I substantially grow my income by making the smallest tweaks. You don't want to be going into an adrenal state. You don't want to be going into an energy of push. You don't want to go into an energy of trying, because if you do, you can only try for so long. And once you have pushed long enough, you will contract and you'll probably go back to where you started. So if you're wanting to expand and you're wanting to 10x, you just have to let it be easy. You have to let it feel easy, or it's not going to work. So it's just like, oh, okay, I guess it just has to be easy then. I guess it just has to be easy. I substantially grow my income by making the smallest tweaks. Otherwise, it's going to be like a rubber band. It's going to snap back to where you feel comfortable. So you're just going to have to do it the easy way. It's just the only way. You're just going to have to do it the easy way. Great. And open your eyes. How is that feeling? I just got a little pop of energy right at the end. How is that feeling for you? Thanks, Georgie. I can feel an energy. I can feel an expansion across my shoulders and the back of my neck. It's a lovely feeling. Great. Some tingles in my face and over my eyes, flowing, beautiful, excited. Tingles all over. Amazing. So just whilst you're in this really beautiful energy space, just seeing, oh, is there anything I feel like doing? It has to be easy. It has to be easy. If it's not easy, just think of the rubber band. It's just you're going to snap back to where you feel comfortable. Why would you want to live in a state of like stress, pressure, pushing? You don't, and you won't. And then that's why you push, and then it either doesn't work, or you can do it for a while and then you'll snap back. Clarity and clear, open. clear crown chakra, burst of light in my heart. I felt that. Elongated spine, open heart and expansion, ease, easy, joyful, expansive, inspired and hopeful. So letting it be easy, just being open to the idea that support is available and support will be available and can be available. And sometimes this can mean it can mean a little bit of waiting for the right opportunity. So rather than jumping on every idea, it's just like, and this comes with self-trust as well, not seeing it as, oh, I have to wait for the perfect idea, but trusting I'll be able to feel when there's an idea that's got some legs. And I can take action in the meantime, because sometimes the only way I can feel into and discover what the right idea is by taking action and by asking the question, by putting it out there. I don't need to create the whole thing before I put it out there. I can gauge. And another way, if you don't want to just ask a question, is what I have done over the years sometimes is if I'm waiting to see what my next, I don't know, course or something I want to create is going to be, I'll just post about different things that are on my heart or that are themes for clients, and different, ideas are dropping in for me. And sometimes something will just generate more interest and more engagement and more conversations. And then you think, oh, that's it. So I think I've shared this example before, but not in this live round. But years ago, what that thing was adrenal fatigue. And it just popped. People were just so interested in adrenal fatigue at that time. So I created a course called Heal My Adrenal Fatigue. It's really successful. I had 40 people sign up the first live round. So that didn't come immediately. It just took some time, but I was based on the fact that I was writing blog posts, and then that blog post all of a sudden, and it was kind of playful. It was like the article was how to give yourself adrenal fatigue. And people just really resonated. So beautiful. You can just place your hands at your heart. Let's close down the session. Just taking some deeper breaths. Reminding yourself this can be so easy. It can be so easy. Amazing. Thank you.